Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and let's get right into it, guys. Of course, we don't have a whole lot to talk about. We did have our first preseason game against the Lions. We lost the game, but it is what it is. It's preseason, and it's funny to me, man. What is weird, have you ever noticed, guys, that the Steelers really don't genuinely do that well in preseason? I mean, then they do okay sometimes, but a lot of times it seems like we're known for being a 0-4 or a 1-3 or a 2-2. We don't generally do that well in the preseason for some odd reason. But we have had success getting to the playoffs and things like that. So if that's what that means, if a bad preseason equals a good regular season, I'll take that. But the only reason why I do pay attention to preseason a lot, man, is because backups, these guys will have to play. A lot of these guys are going to have to play, especially when you don't have a lot of depth in a certain position. Now, speaking of that, let's jump right into this news. Ladarius Green. Oh, my goodness. Man, listen, I don't know all of the details, but if what we're hearing is true, if this guy didn't tell the truth about his concussions and things like that and his headaches or what have you, I don't know, man. I don't even know how to feel about that. I feel like, why even do that when you know eventually a team is going to find out your real medical history? I don't think when you're in that type of profession that you'll be able to hide that or keep that a secret. But it sucks because this is a guy that we're looking forward to having on the field, helping Big Ben be able to stretch the field vertically, with his speed. This is a guy that we really want in this offense. And if he's not going to be there, it definitely takes, another weapon away. It takes another weapon away from us. Martavis Bryant is already gone. And, Jesse James will have to step right in and do his thing. And, speaking of backups, now you're looking at a guy like Xavier Grimble. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. I think it's Grimble. A guy like that who they're saying is looking pretty decent in practice, in training camp and things like that. So right away, you see how these guys can affect the regular season. So this is why I look at preseason. I know some football fans, they don't watch preseason. I am the opposite. I watch each and every down of preseason. I'm looking at it like a coach. I'm analyzing positions, and I'm looking for personal, individual performances. I'm not really looking at the whole team. I'm looking at specific guys. Two guys that actually stood out to me a little bit in this past preseason game, would be Darrell Richardson at the running back position, and Eli Rogers. Eli Rogers didn't have a ton of work, but he did some good things. I could see some flashes of what he could bring to the table. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on those guys. Landry Jones, man, I still just don't feel that great about Landry Jones. He did some decent things, but come on, man. We're on the fourth year. The decent should be out of the window. Look at a guy like Dak Prescott. What he did down in Dallas, for the Cowboys, looked pretty well, pretty good. That's the type of stuff you want to see out of your backup. You want to see a guy that you have confidence in, that can come in and at least control the game. He's not going to be your starter, obviously, but at least he might control the game. I don't see that out of our backups. I like Bruce Gradkowski, which I'm not sure why he's third on the depth chart. I don't know if it's an age thing or what have you. Like I said, I can't question the coaches. I'm sure they know more than I do. But, you're looking at Gradkowski, you see that, he has a hamstring injury. I don't know how significant it is, but little things like that, man. So now you're looking at Landry Jones. Now, Vaughn did come in. Dustin Vaughn came in. I like what I saw out of him as far as awareness. He had more pocket awareness to me than a Landry Jones. He moved around in the pocket. There was quite a few times where he avoided defenders, bought some extra time, what we've become accustomed to with Big Ben. Has a huge arm, but I still think he's a little rusty. But I don't know. Maybe work this guy up and give him a shot if the situation comes to where we need, somebody to lead the team in case there's an absence of Big Ben. But overall, backup quarterback situation is definitely not something that I have a thumbs up for as of right now. A few other things I'll talk about here, guys, as I look at my notes here. Sean Davis. Sean Davis played fairly well. He did miss some tackles, though. That's a little bit of a concern. I saw him miss a few tackles We're going to need him to be able to tackle, especially playing in the nickel spot or even at safety. A lot of times you're going to be one of the last lines of defense. Of course, the free safety would be there to help as well. And Anquan Bolden, you saw him welcome the rookie to the NFL. He made a nice move on him, caught a nice long pass down the middle. Sean Davis got turned around a little bit. And he's a rookie. You're going to expect things like that to happen. I'm not going to hold that against him too much. Like I said, he's swapping between safety and corner. So, but I did like some of the things I saw from him. I saw his physicality, the tackles that he did make. He's all over the field, all around the ball. So, we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. But speaking about somebody who was all around the ball, Dorian Grant, man. Dorian Grant was really, around the ball a lot. Not only with the tip drill interception or what have you, but, man, this guy, and it wasn't even a tip drill. It was a bad throw, which caused the interception. And the pressure, caused the interception. And you love that. Your front end should help the back end. But even outside of that, there was times where there was, possible fumble and he recovers it and things like that. Like, this guy was around the ball a lot. He was everywhere, so let's keep an eye on him. We've had him for a couple years now, or a year or two. I think maybe last year was when we drafted him. I can't really remember. I don't know if this is his second or third year. I can't remember exactly. I just know he's been on the practice squad for a while. So, yeah, let's keep an eye on him because we're going to need some help at corner now that we know, Sinquez Golson is requiring surgery and things like that. Now, another thing, man, speaking of pressure, Ricardo Matthews showed up a lot. Ricardo Matthews definitely showed me something. That guy was getting a lot of pressure. Even if it was times where there wasn't a sack or wasn't a tackle, he was blowing up the middle. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the thing that we're going to miss, so to speak, right now, because we don't know what we have yet. But that's what we'll miss from a Steve McClendon, who could clog that middle. Now, Dan McCullers is working on, being that guy as well. I didn't see much out of Dan, to be honest, in this last preseason game, but we'll see how everything shakes out. But Ricardo Matthews, in my opinion, was the guy that was showing up on the defensive line, as well as Javon Hargraves. I'll be looking for him. Didn't see a whole lot from him, guys. Excuse me. Didn't see a lot from him in that particular game. I saw a couple times where it seemed like he was getting, a little bit of momentum going, but he didn't do anything that really wowed me in that particular game. I know there was a lot of rotation in and out, so sometimes it's hard to gauge, but he didn't do a bad job. He didn't do a great job. Let's put it like that. All right. Now, another person that, kind of stood out to me, of course, would be Deebo. I mean, Deebo looking like Deebo already in the preseason. It's great to see that, because he's definitely going to be a guy I assume we're going to use situational, so we're going to need him to come in, do exactly what he did in that game, get the strip sack against Stafford. Love to see stuff like that. He's already in season form. This year being in training camp early and things like that. It looks like he's right where we need him to be. But of course, he's not going to be a guy who starts. We all know that. But situational, we can use him to do exactly what he did in that game. Now, I only got a couple more notes here, guys. Let me see. Shazier. Shazier is looking very fast out there. You saw a couple times where he shot the gap and made the tackle in the backfield. Shazier is looking like that guy, man. He's looking like that guy if he stays healthy, because I know they've been saying that he's been a camp standout as well. So, I think Ryan Shazier has the potential to be one of the best middle linebackers in the game if he just stays healthy. What else we got here? Anthony Chickillo. Anthony Chickillo also is a guy I want to keep an eye on. Didn't see much out of him, like I said, in the preseason game due to snaps and things like that. But I'm hearing, people are actually saying he's looking like the best edge pass rusher in camp right now. That could be interesting. This could be another guy we could rotate in for situational football, and let's keep an eye on him. I like Chickillo. I liked him when we drafted him, man. I just didn't know if he was going to get an opportunity because of the depth we had in that position at that time. I know now he's working on the linebacker, so I want to keep an eye on him. Another guy, LJ Fort. Here's another guy that I think has an opportunity. He looked pretty decent, made a good special teams tackle. This is a guy I think that can replace, someone that we may have lost as far as special teams. I know like a Sean Spence and guys like that, Terrence Garvin, those type of guys. I think this could be LJ Fort's role. Also, he could play a little middle linebacker. He looked fairly decent when he was out there. I think he's a middle. I'm getting myself a little confused, but I think he plays in the middle. He might be an outside linebacker. It's slipping my mind right now, guys, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. He definitely looks like a solid special teamer, and I'm sure he might be able to get some reps because we're kind of thin at linebacker if you really think about it. Once you get past the first string guys, we're kind of thin, in the middle and on the outside. So I think a lot of these guys have an opportunity to make the team and if they're productive, they can help us. But we're going to need all the help we can get, especially in the secondary. After you get past Cockrell and Willie Gay, you're looking at Artie Burns. I know he's dealing with a minor injury right now. But then after that, these other guys we really don't know. You got Sean Davis. We don't know Artie Burns. But you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about as far as just names that jump out. A lot of those guys, man, like the Kevin Whites and a lot of those other guys, the Dangerfield and those guys who came in late in the game, these guys don't look good at all to me. There were a lot of missed tackles late in the game, like, third, fourth quarter. Just third and fourth string guys were not looking good right now. And like I said, some of these guys are going to have to make the roster and have to play. So it's very important to watch how these guys, progress through the rest of the preseason. And the last thing I'll say here, man, Darius Heyward-Bey. Hey-Bay made a great catch in the touchdown, being able to go up, battle for it. The defender wasn't really looking for the ball, but he goes up, pulls it down, gets his feet in bounds. Great catch. But he did drop a wide open, pass as well. So I'm going to keep, looking at all of that stuff, man, as we go through the preseason. Oh, one last thing. Sammy Coates. Sammy Coates better step it up. Because Sammy Coates, you need to stop turning the ball over. 2 fumbles. Come on now. Where's the ball security? I know you're big and strong and you're impressive and can't making catches, but if you're going to be dropping the ball like that, I can't really think that they're going to be confident about putting you out there on the field. He needs to tighten that up. He needs to get that together because we're going to need him. We're definitely going to need him, whether it's Eli Rogers in the slot or Marcus Whedon on the outside with AB. Whoever it is, whether it's Darius Heyward-Bey playing sometime, it doesn't matter. We're still going to need a Sammy Coates. So this guy needs to get his ball security under control. But that's pretty much all I got for you this week, guys. I'll definitely be watching Thursday as we play the Philadelphia Eagles and, keeping a closer look at things. Hopefully some of the starters will play a little bit just so we can gauge how the first string guys look. But outside of that, man, that's really all I got. Nothing really jumped out. That's my assessment of some of the guys that I was looking at. So I appreciate everybody watching. Definitely check out the preseason. I really advise you guys, man, if you are Steelers fans, watch the preseason so you can learn this team and you can kind of have, some expectations of what we have in terms of depth and, in case somebody goes down. So, all right, that's going to do it, guys. Definitely leave your thoughts, leave your comments, and stay tuned for a few short messages. Peace.
Hold up. Wait. Before you go, hit that sub box. Make sure you subscribe. Come back around for more content. And don't forget to leave your thoughts, leave your comments, and I promise it'll never hurt you to hit that like button. Another announcement real quick, guys. Sim Standard Radio has now moved here to YouTube via Google Hangout. Come check us out right here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right. That's all I got for you. Okay, bye. Go ahead. Get out of here.